Hello my beautiful friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel. As you can see on the thumbnail, I said I made over $20,000 using only IDOR vulnerabilities or broken access control, which is IDOR is a type of broken access control. So if you're interested and want to know how I used to find these kind of vulnerabilities into a bug bounty program and getting paid obviously, please click the like button and the follow button and let's just get started. So what is actually an IDOR? So an IDOR is an insecure direct object reference, and it is a type of a broken access control vulnerability. So let's just say you're trying to modify your username or trying to modify your email or trying to access your profile. So now the web application sends a request to the server and say, hi, give me the data of user 1234. So 1234 is your user ID. Okay, so as the attacker sees the request and say, okay, so what if I modify 1234 into 1235? That's the logic. So if it gives you the data of 1235 user, which is the user ID, congratulations, now you have an IDOR. As you can see in this application, we have user settings, we have the username, the email, and the telephone number. So what I actually do is get the email address, okay? First, we refresh the page, okay? And we make sure the burp listener is on. And we go to burp suite history. So in the research, I do this. So I type my email here and click enter. Okay, so as you can see right here, we have two requests that contains our email right here. So that's request containing our email, and that's request is doing this same thing. Okay, so if we submit this request into the repeater and modify the 2 into 3, so we're saying give us the settings of the user number 3. So if we send, as you can see, it's given us another user's data, and that's how IDOR works. So we have sensitive data like username. Usually it's going to be the full name, like the full name, last name, and email address, and another sensitive data. So here we can modify to 4. So what's happened if we modify to 4? As you can see, we got another user data too. So John Walker 90 fakeemail.com. So that's the basic of IDOR. We saw the previous example, we modified from user 3 to user 4, we got the user number 4 data. So if we modify number 4 into number 100 or 200, we get the user 200's data. So that is an IDOR. But in this case, we have a different case scenario. As you can see right here, the user settings, we have the same thing. We have the username, we have the email, we have the telephone number, is the same data. So we copy the email, we copy it and look it on burp history, and we paste it here. So let me explain you to this. Okay, let me explain you this. So what I mean by the user email, you look for the user email in the burp history, is look for a private data for whatever it is, like an API key, a private file URL, or a name, username, like user's email. So you look for these data into the burp history so you can see all the requests are being sent to the server to get this private data. So now we have a list of URL, a list of requests that are getting this private data, so we can manipulate later and try to get an IDOR. So let's just look for our email right here, and we apply, and we can see the browser is sending two requests. We're sending this one and this one. This is just an example. So in settings, they are requesting our ID, and it's given us the Charlie email 123. This is the phone number. So let's just send this into the repeater. As you can see, this user ID right here, we cannot decode this ID. So what we actually do is we go to the application and look for other functionalities that may leak the user ID, like the comment, like visiting their profile or trying to report this user. There is multiple action you can do. So for example, right here in our application, we have the report functionality. We can report, for example, the user Grace. We click on their profile. Here we cannot visit their profile, but we can report. Do you want to report user? And we click OK. But before we click this, go to proxy, intercept, and we do this. Okay, so we click enter. As you can see, we have a request is being made, which is report user Grace. So we send this to the repeater, and send it. As you can see, we got their ID. So this is our ID, which is this one. The same thing, ends by 92, and here as you can see the same, but on the second value you can see the user report about user. So this is the other user UUID. So we didn't guess it, but the application is leaking their UUID. So we copy this and paste it in our previous request, which is our request, and you can see the magic. We got their name, we got their email, and we got their telephone number. So this is how you should think. If you cannot guess the value, you should look for other functionalities like the comment, visiting their profile, or whatever application functionalities they have. As we saw in the two previous examples, the first one, which is modifying the numeric ID from 3 to 4 to 5 and modifying the numeric ID, or you can also brute force this ID and see the user if it's available or not. And also we dealt with the UID, how we can find the UID in other parts of the application, like the comment section, like the bio, visiting their profile, reporting this user, or whatever functionality. You need to see your application that you are testing and click every button and test every function. And please dig deep into this application to get into requests that most of the attacker or most bug bounty hunter didn't get, because most of bug bounty hunters gave up on the first day or second day and they didn't even test every functionality of the application, and they gave up too early. So what if you looked for your ID or numeric ID on the comment section, on the profile, on whatever functionality the app have, and you did not find the other user numeric ID or UID? So what you're gonna do? Are you gonna give up? No. Basically the answer is no. There is multiple other option or other tests you should do. So the first one, which is create another user and use their UID or their ID to access the second user data. Some bug bounty programs accept this vulnerability, so you need to look for it. And if you find that you can access to other user ID data, so that's a bug, you should report it. And the second example I mostly do, which is looking on web archivers like Wayback URLs or way more. These tools sometimes leak other users' ID from archiving their session. And the third example, which is most bug bounty hunters do not use, which is going into support channel. For example, let's just say HackerOne, support.hackerone.com. If you see the support, people are posting their error messages, they're posting their problems into this application. Sometimes they leak on the error message their UUID, and you can report this to the application using other UUID that you find on the support chat. So you can find on the support channel like Telegram, also Discord, whatever the application provide. You should look for all these options and try to test for an IDOR. So you tested every function, you clicked every button on the application, but you had no success. Well, sometimes it's not about just modifying the user ID from 123 to 124 or UUID to another victim ID. No, sometimes you need to bypass and look for bypasses into this application and try to bypass the app restrictions. One of the bypasses I had success with in the past, which is trying to modify the HTTP request method. For example, if it was post request, try to modify it into a put request. If it was a put request, try to modify it into a post request, etc. Try to play with the HTTP methods and see how the application interact with your request. And the second bypass I had success with in the past is trying to modify the API version. For example, it was get users v1 the user ID, try to modify it to users v2 users ID or v2 to v1, and try to manipulate the path of this API and see if you get any data of any result with this. And the third bypass I had success with also in the past is trying to move it from 1 to 3 as a number and add a quotation. It will be as dealt as a string. Let's just say you found an IDOR, an application or bug bounty program that you're working in. So I don't actually recommend you to report this bug directly to the program. What I recommend to you is try to escalate this vulnerability and get a higher impact. What I mean by this is chain it with another vulnerability like an XSS, or try to find a CSRF token. Maybe you get full account takeover. That gets you more chance to get higher bounty and a higher impact. This is an example of what I was saying in the video. So this is a vulnerability I found in the past. I wrote a blog article about it. You can find it on Medium, or you can find the link on the description. So I found an IDOR plus an XSS. I chained an IDOR with a cross-site scripting vulnerability to achieve a full user's account takeover. So how I did this? So I found a parameter which is the event ID. So I modified the event ID with a victim ID, and it gives me his information, and I was able to modify his event ID, event data. So what I did is, okay, I found another request which is trying to modify my event data. So this request here, you can see the ID and you can see a URL encoded. So this URL encoded data, it gives us this data. So I decoded it, and it gives us a text. This is a text. So this is the decoding of this string. So I tried to modify the test123 into an XSS payload. Okay, as you can see, this is image source X onload confirm, which is gonna pop up the famous XSS pop-up. So I tried to modify into an XSS payload, plus I tried to modify the event ID to the victim ID, and as you can see, I got an XSS and I got all the users of this application. I can brute force this ID for, I don't know, for 100 or 1,000 ID and affect all the platform users and get full account takeover of all the platform users, which is one of the coolest bug I found in the past. I got a critical for this, and I got really good payment, good bounty for this one, and that's it. Well, I really wish you enjoyed watching this video. If you're interested in learning more about hacking and bug bounty hunting, you can check out my store, or you can find the link on the description. I'm posting all my private bug bounty reports and all my private video that I cannot post here on YouTube, while I'm offering a one-on-one private coaching. If you're interested, please check out my store. Well, thank you so much for watching this video. I really enjoyed making this video for you. If you have any question, please comment it on the comment section. Thank you so much. See you in the next one.